Let's get started. Let's lay on our back here. We're only going to be here for about a minute. If you want to prop yourself up on a block, you're more than welcome to. But I like to do this one where the soles of the feet come open, the knees go open here, and then the arms go beyond the ears bend because it's opening up the underarms because they're always down here. Really good for your lymphatic system, the lymph node density here, and then really good for the legs. They're always kind of close together. So this posture makes a lot of just sense to do. So let's just take a moment here to kind of ground. And let's start to connect to our breath. So a nice deep inhale in your nose. Nice deep exhale. Let's take a few more like that, yogis. Close your eyes. Remember, we're always trying to breathe a little bit more into the abdominal cavity, trying to stimulate the vagus nerve. I mentioned yesterday about this kind of ultrasound of the diaphragm breathing affecting all your organs. So really an amazing way to help possibly heal, optimize the function of the digestive tract by breathing deep into the abdomen. Then big exhale, that diaphragm's gonna lift and pull on those organs. All right, now I'm gonna keep going here, yogis. If you wanna hold that longer, feel free. Arms down by your side, maybe assist the knees back together, and we'll start with our knees into our chest. I'll just give you a good 30 seconds for feel-good movements. Circles, knee bending, ankle circling. All right, please take your time. Kind of classic start. We'll go for our bridge. This is the hip thrust. We really should be doing this multiple times a week. If you want to do a little extra, put a block between your thighs. Arms start down by side, lower back presses down to engage the core. Big toe heel press down, hips lift. Pause at the top, knees over heels. Squeeze the heels toward the shoulders. Pull the navel in, and then lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. So it's not like it's your most challenging, all right? We're waking the body up. We're moving, press the lower back down, lift the hips. We're also pausing, but it's not like an over-strenuous approach, okay? And then you lower down. And you do your bridges nice and slow up and down. If you want a little bit more, arm movement, inhale. You can reach your arms back as you inhale, and as you exhale, you can kind of bring your arms down. Just gets the shoulder waking up, okay? Inhale, exhale. If you're just joining, we're just doing some bridge work. I'm pulling in the belly as I'm lifting here, making sure I'm supporting my lumbar. It's very likely that you're gonna arch the back here. A lot of people do it, it's very subtle. So you gotta really work on posterior tilt and pulling that belly in. Last few. You're trying to get to somewhere between 6 and 12 to where it changes, where it might feel tight or achy, weak. The first few, as you get to the last few, that achiness or tightness might be kind of unraveling a little bit, okay? And then please take your time. We'll bring our knees into our chest. Once you're done, I kind of keep moving through. We got all regulars today, which means there's just a little bit more personalization. So that was our back body. Now we go to the front body more, all right? I'm just gonna go pretty simple to start here. Legs can go here, or if you're feeling good, legs go up. Arms down by side, press the lower back down. So same thing, movement, but still. Legs straighten for more. Right leg goes only about halfway forward. Hold, try to engage both legs. And then leg comes up. Left leg goes only about halfway forward, yogis. We're not going for like what they call like the full lever, which is more weight. More likely to arch your back if you go more forward. Now listen, both legs come up. Both legs go only about halfway forward. The active part is really keeping your lower back down. Remember, it's really your thighs that are moving. So you go here if it's too much. You're still gonna get it, right? Okay, back in. Press your lower back down. Again, listen. Arms, right leg goes halfway forward. Listen, curl your upper body, little crunch. Head and shoulders down, arms down, right leg up. Left leg goes halfway forward. Curl the upper body. That's the add-on, right? Head, shoulders, arms down, left leg up. Just one more. Both legs go forward. This is not an easy start. Chest, arms curl. Arms, head down, legs up. Knees into chest. Twist. Hips to the left, knees to the right. Couple breaths. Maybe look to the left. You know this pose. Everyone in this class knows that. I won't bore you with the basics, but let's wake up the twisting body. I'm just gonna do a stretch this morning. A lot of times I like to start with movement here, but I'm just gonna have you hold the twist. Just use your breath, if we're not moving in and out here. Extra breath into the tightness. Twisting and doing that big abdominal breathing is like the double stimulation of the digestive tract. All right, let's do our second side. Nice smooth deep breathing in at your nose, please. Eyes are closed. All right, so that's a pretty strong first little sequence, right? So take your time. We'll meet back in center. We're on our back still. One more kind of time through. Bridge pose with little add-on if you're up for it. Feet down, arms down, hips lift. This time we will hold. So if you can, you grab the outer edges of your mat. Walk your hands underneath your back. Would be a little bit more, intertwining your fingers. Kind of rolling the shoulders under more. Now you can lift your heels a little bit, getting into like a calf raise. If you want to go right for a one-legged bridge, please do. If you're up for it, okay. Put your heels down, now lift the ball of the feet, kind of flexing the feet. Bring the pubic bone more forward and up. If this hurts your lower back, most likely you're not posterior tilting, yogis. You're arching your back here. Your psoas is pulling on the arch. That's like a bad combo. This little subtle posterior tilt, your pubic bone has to come forward and up. So it's the cat hips. Nice job, lower down. Take a moment. I like to add a little windshield wipe here, the knees. That is different than anything we've done. We haven't rotated the hips yet, right? So this little this goes under the radar, this little subtle movement. It's super good to loosen up the body, especially if you have any, soreness, back achiness, or anything like that, okay? All right, so let's bring our legs up, but now it's a little different. I'm gonna have you move a little bit more, 2 parts. We're gonna really just move the legs, starting with the single leg, lower back presses down. It kind of just looks like this. Now, it could just be like this. I'm not gonna have you do the bicycle just yet. It's a pretty big exercise. So we're just gonna go here. If you're up for it, it's more like this. If you wanna go big, you just do the crunch too. Those are like 3 levels. Last few. And you could do like a little bit smoother. You could do like legs going like this is kind of a little bit easier. If the legs are engaged stiff, you're gonna get way more tension. And then you would do the double leg. So before we did kind of single leg holds, and then we did a double leg hold, and then my legs go forward, and then they come back up. Both legs. Last few. basically this stuff represents like down dog and plank yogis. It's the same body forms. You know, you might look at this and be like, oh, this is like fitness, but it's actually the same body forms, you know? All right, and then our twist, after you're done with that leg swings, take a few moments to release. So my back's a little tight this morning. You know, I worked out and my back's a little achy, so you have to practice a little different, right? Now, one last thing here is the twist. I want you to take it slow. We did the stretch earlier to kind of prepare. I'm going to bring my knees over my hips, my ball of the feet touch. If I had a block right next to me, I might put it between my thighs right now. I'd widen my arms, and then I'm going to bring my knees over to the right about halfway only. If you have anything going on, maybe about only a quarter or a third of the way down. And then you're going to pause and come back to center. So we're back into that kind of moving, but pausing. So my knees go left. If you're feeling really good, we do it straight leg, right? It's the same thing. We were bringing our legs forward in space. Now they're going to the side. My knees go right, you pause. I come back to center, my knees go left. And I'm gonna do a few more. I do wanna work the tension yogi. So this is a really good one. I say this about a lot of exercises, but we should also do this one regularly. There's not that many tension rotations like this when you're looking at how to strengthen the body and, like, let's say a dynamic spinal rotation. There's not that many that are really like this. You know, any lunge twist is not like this. Any upstanding, not even in, like, you know, a plank twist is not this either. That's a close one, but this is a really kind of unique aspect to how to train the body. I like to do this in my warm-up usually, and that's kind of how we're using it. Some people would say this is a peak exercise, and I get that, you know, but we're yogis, we twist a lot. So your body is a little bit more accustomed to like deep twisting and moving twisting than most athletes. They do a lot of symmetrical coronal exercise and sagittal. They lack often some transverse. So if you want to go big, you would hover. You know, I'm trying to get you to go like 10 to 12 each side. And then you'd hover about halfway for a little longer, and you kind of refine like a yoga pose. So you'd squeeze your block if it's there, and you roll. If your knees are to the right, you roll your left ribs down. So you kind of do the opposite action in your, it's kind of like revolve moon. You know, same thing. As you twist your chest, it's hard to see here to the left, your core, your upper core is twisting left. So left ribs down if your legs are going right. It's that same principle in revolve, triangle, and moon applied here. So you do your second side. Looks like most of these are done there, but I'll, you know, let you finish up. A few of these are still going. All right, so I want to get you off the ground. I want to get you moving a little bit more. So if you want a quick happy baby, if you want to add anything, a figure four or a plow, you know, in an intermediate advanced class, you get people in plow in like the first couple minutes. You know, you're waking up the whole back line, neck to heels. So, you know, when I used to teach advanced yoga, the class was called Advanced Yoga in Santa Monica. It was like all yoga teachers, and you have people right in the beginning, you're kind of like this. That's a very risky approach, not being really warmed up. You know, we didn't really do the back body that much. Bridge, it's like middle back body. It's not really neck. It's, you know, it's a big start. So when you're done there, yogis, let's make our way up. I like to add these rocks, get a little massage in. It goes right through the sacrum, all the way to like the sit bones, the butt, and then right down that lower back, middle back, upper back. It's a really nice one. We're gonna swing it around eventually. We're gonna meet in the tabletop. I'll let you decide. Sunday morning, all regulars, kind of free practice. Good idea, depending on how you're feeling, to do cat-cow. Any day I'm feeling tight in the core, the shoulders, I'll always do a couple cat-cows at least. And here's where you could add a little bit of that free movement, which is like circling. You know, if you want to add a wrist stretch, do that quick as well. So it's a moment here for yourself. Remember, people always associate intermediate yoga with like more difficult poses, but really it's just like, it's more like self-led, right? It's not more gymnastics. It's more listening to your body and applying just logical exercises because you only got an hour a day. All right, so downward dog is next. So you make your way up in there and then you kind of pedal out your feet. Did a little calf raise earlier, but you need to get a little bit more into this. This is the bent. Remember, bent knee calf raise, straight leg calf raise are much different. They literally stimulate different muscles. The bent knee is a little bit more ankle, and this is going to be a little bit more like upper calf behind the knee. So as you pedal your feet out in dog, you're going to get a little bit more behind that knee, the upper calf. Shake your head yes and no. And the first frontal inversion, once you loosen up your big body a little bit, press your palms down. That didn't sound right. Big body, your gross body. Lift your sit bones up and back. Pedal those feet out when you're done. Start to breathe. Let's do a meditation here. So yogis, I want to get you flowing. And as of recent, we've been doing like a little sun salutation beat. It's really fantastic because it has all the foundations, which is squat, hinge, and lunge. It's really beautiful. When you're thinking like, how can I maximize what I'm doing here and cover a lot and go up and down, forward and back. I mean, it's core, it's legs, it's arms. You can't beat it, okay? So here we go. Walk your feet to the front of your mat. So this is that hamstring touch if you want to take it. You inhale, half lift, and then you exhale, forward fold. What that represents, yogis, is the half lift. It's activating your back because every time you forward fold to touch your toes, you're like weakening your back. Let's be clear about that. You just touch your toes like this all the time, in a rounded spine, posterior tilt, you are weakening your back in a double traction. It's a double crunch. It weakens the lower back. So every time you inhale, half lift, you're kind of activating it so you don't get imbalanced, okay? When you're done, let's slowly rise up, your pace, your practice. I don't care, you can hold that for another 5 minutes if you want. As long as your intuition is telling you that's what you need, all right? And you're not overdoing that. So the sun salutation beat, I'll lead us through one time together, and then it's free flow, all regulars. I want you to get your body moving in complex ways. Arms start down by side, big inhale. If you're ready, just go on your own. Big exhale. Here we flow. Chair pose, big inhale. That's like your squat, right? Then you exhale, you forward fold. Inhale, half lift is the hinge. The other is symmetrical fundamental. And then it's high plank, step back. Okay, you shift forward. You may take a few extra push-ups depending on how you're feeling, your call. And then we enter into the bigger back bends. I'll demonstrate Cobra 1 first. You guys all know it though, Cobra 2. Some of us are up dog. I wouldn't be there yet. But up dog is the hovering form, okay? Down dog. With your breath, your inhale, your right leg goes up, so you get that hip extension. Exhale, right foot steps forward. Inhale, you can do high lunge or warrior 1. Warrior 1 adds the fourth category of your leg fundamentals, is the rotational quality, okay? Hands plant, right leg back, chaturanga. So if you always do warrior 1, it's good to do high lunge or vice versa. If you're always doing, I consider warrior 1 really like an intermediate posture. It's rotation against hip and spine. It's so difficult. So do your second side, and I really want you to get into flow now. So this is, planks and active extensions, it's inversions, it's weight bearing on shoulders and on chest. It's just so good. You have to pick one dynamic movement that's relatively simple to remember. This is it. I'm trying to look for a better one all across the land, and I can't find one. You remember this, yogis, it covers all the fundamentals of fitness too, all right? If you're looking for something to do powerful in the morning to really wake up your whole body, you do your sun beat, all right?
So let's get going. Nice, Jamie, adding some inversions. Yeah, if you guys are feeling good, I want to see some handstands. I want to see some headstands. If you're a little tired, I want to see a little meditation and child pose. And I want big breaths, all right? This is a powerful practice right now. So you need that breath. So it's funny, the breath starts by really, breathing deeper and stronger. But then from that, just like yoga poses, you work on activating it, but then you calm it more. So that big, powerful breath stays big and powerful, but it becomes more quiet, smooth, calm. All right. So let's give you another minute or two to get flowing. I'm going to flow with you if you don't mind. Once you understand all the parts of this, remember that your cobra is supposed to be your pull. It's supposed to be your back body, your back arms. You're pulling like that. It's gentle cobra, it's more like that. Full cobra, it's more like that. And up dog, it's straight arm. So you get row. Gentle cobra is a row. And chair can be deeper like yogi squat, okay? There's a lot of places I like to add like little movements in cobra too to get into like my side body a little bit more. So I want you to explore, just like we do cat-cow linear, structured. You take this and you get a little outside the lines, adding like little side movements. Even up at like chair, I would go here and then I kind of pull back. And then I go forward. That's not like traditional, but just to add a little bit more balance, especially if you can't pull in cobra. I find that most people cannot pull in cobra because it's really difficult. Even like a lot of yoga teachers. Like I go in all these yoga classes. I'm not trying to judge. It would be letting you guys be aware of the situation. I go into yoga classes and teachers be teaching cobra like in a way that I would really not suggest to do. And I don't think they understand the biomechanics of the pose. Our goal is to create length. And the only way you're going to do that is really by pushing. Unless it's up dog, you can push an up dog and create length, but it's very unlikely. So, make sure you're pulling. You got to like mentally digest that. Up dog, cobra, they're all pull, okay? So let's finish up there, guys. I want to keep going before we get too far. So take your time. We're going to eventually meet back, down dog. If you need a quick child pose, that's a good idea. All that movement, hopefully you're feeling a little bit more heat. It's called sun salutation. It's stimulating. The sun is heating. It's bright. It's on fire. The fire has been lit. All right, so we're back in down dog. Looks like almost everyone's there. Take a breath for 3 in dog, please. Big inhale in your nose. And big exhale. So our only stretches have really been like touch your toes and twist. So I want to go a little bit for that now, all right? Tabletop, right foot steps forward. You can do it right from dog.
So I'm gonna show you with my blocks here, okay? Right hip goes back. Inhale, lengthen your chest. Start to forward fold. So I didn't do like the whole thing about step forward, curl your back, knee back, and then straighten your front leg. But we're here. All right, so I'm not gonna do pyramid. We just did a lot of lunging. We've done bridges. Right hip back, lengthen your core, and forward fold. It's a short hold, just about 30 seconds.
In a lot of yoga circles, actually, a 30-second hold is called like a mid-range hold. It's not short, it's not long. A short hold is more like, vinyasa, pop in for one breath. Long hold, you're looking at something like a minute and a half, at least. All right, so that's kind of like a general thing a lot of yogis kind of go by.
All right, now listen, second part, bend the front knee, descend the hips forward and down, start to lift the chest, maybe hands on the hips. This is our lunge, but it's stretchy. My hips go down, my left arm goes up, and I side bend. So it's the first big side bend. We didn't really get anywhere there yet, right? We did some twists. So you're here, feet about hips with distance. My left arm goes up, and I side bend. It's called Pedigasana. It's actually a pretty classic yoga pose. So I'm descending my hips down. I'm lifting my sides up. This is targeting the psoas, yogis. It's the double traction, okay? Whether we go straddle and lateral flexion, or let's say, this is called like a split lunge, and laterally flex. It's both, they're both a double psoas or deep line traction. It's good to remember those two, okay? Big inhale, please. Back to center. Go slow, step the right foot back. You just kind of shake we're kind of in like a Hatha Asana mode. Not doing vinyasas in between unless you want to. I'm just moving forward from that. Left foot eventually goes forward. Hips over back knee. So my right knee is underneath my hips. My hands can be on blocks. My right hip wants to, be back and straight. Left hip back. Inhale, lengthen your chest. Exhale, forward fold. This is our big hamstring stretcher class, yogis.
Just breathe. Nice. Full splits are always welcome. So that's the hamstring behind the knee, right? So remember, hamstring crosses two joints. All of them cross the knee. I think all of them cross the hip too, actually. All right, so when you're done with that part, it is the second part, which is the runner's lunge, they call it in yoga, or Anjanasana, the classic name for it, or the split squat. Some people call it split lunge, a lot of names for it. Right arm goes up, and it's a side bend. No rush getting there.
Now this is like what we call the second part of the hamstring stretch. I literally heard people say the best way to train your hamstrings is hip extension. I don't get that. That makes no sense. And these are like trainers. The way you really train your hamstring is by bending the knee like this, right?
Knee flexion is its main action. So this is kind of like the opposite, right? We're trying to let the hips kind of now, where they were going back and up, now they're kind of going forward and down. So there's a contrast. Your chest was also kind of going, your chest is in contrast. So it was like lengthening going forward. Now it's kind of up, going back. And we added the side bend for the more complex pose.
Now I want you to take your time. You're all kind of on your own. Base it off what your body's telling you, not what a yoga teacher decides to make you hold that random day. So when you're done there, you take it a moment, and now we're gonna go weight bearing in the arms and side body tension. So I'm just gonna use side plank. I do it all the time. I tend to do moving side plank more often for me. but it's pretty athletic, that approach. How about we switch it up and we do a little fallen triangle? One of my favorites. Right from here, not in vinyasa mode, plank, tighten everything up. Now, this is a little tricky if you're new to it, right? I might want to widen my feet a little bit. I turn my heels to the left. I bring my right arm up, but watch. The sole of my right foot presses down. If you're going to try it, my left foot goes in front of me. So I'm working my inner thigh, okay? Hands stacked. I can reach my top arm forward, and I breathe. So we're just working our planks. I'm not going to make you hold regular plank today. So we're doing these instead. You could always be on your left forearm. That's kind of more challenging, I find, in fallen triangle. So the sole of your right foot is pressing down to really feel what's called active supination, lengthening your outer ankle, shortening the inner ankle so we can be stronger on the, what they call like the medial line or internal leg. Now let's not hold too long now. It's pretty early morning, right? Depends on how you're feeling. You do your second side. So you kind of slowly bring that leg back. You turn to your toes and your hands go down. You're in plank. You turn to the right arm down, heels right. Now the sole of your left foot has to press down, and then your right foot slides in front of you. Okay? Nice. Yeah, you can do a little double. Look at that little guy running around there. Does everyone feel the inner thigh of the left leg? Don't forget to train the adductors, yogis. You know, that's important. I had you squeeze the block earlier. It's kind of like a warm up for this. Block's a good way to stimulate bilateral adduction. It's tricky though, because if you have a tight psoas and you're always squeezing the block like this, that connects. So, you know, I don't teach blocks that much because of that. It's kind of like making an issue that a lot of people have kind of more irritating. Okay, listen, take a little breather. Now I am going to bring you into it's a little sequence. I want you to think of this like a plank. If you'd rather do reverse plank, please do that. Or I want to do our locust. Here we go. So we're in strength mode. We're going to do standing yoga after this, and then you're pretty much done with strength. So lengthen your core. I'll let you get the option. If you have any tight things going on in the upper body, you go here. If you want to go your back muscles, you go wide like the T. If you want to go really big, arms forward. We're going to lift our chest, lift our legs, and wherever your arms are, you lift the arms too. Few breaths. I teach these postures in sequence a lot, if you've noticed. Side planks into locust. Because side plank tends to be a lot of back body as well. It's your deepest lower back muscle. It's also really challenging the lateral erector. And then you want to get the erector symmetry in case you strain too much on one side. And it kind of brings it together. So listen, big inhale. Take a little breather lower down. Press back. I take a child pose for a moment. We have one more little round to go through. So adductor strength is the inner thigh. Abductor, abduction is outer hip, which is our normal side plank. I'll do that. If you want to do something a little bit different, feel free. I'll rise up to tabletop. If you need to give, we didn't do that much on the wrist, but if you want to give them a little breather, you're on your forearms, toes tucked, side plank. So now I'm on the first side of my regular side plank. This is going to be my outer hips. Whereas this is double adduction, both inner thighs. This is double abduction, both outer hips. Are you training one more than the other? I would like to know the logic of why. Our objective, yogis, is to recognize our imbalances. Whether it's muscles or how we breathe or how we think or how we eat. We're trying to just notice these patterns in yoga. We're trying to become an objective observer of ourselves. And in a sense, as the yogis say, you kind of use your intelligence more in all these decisions.
Now you got one more side. This is your last little side plank here. So make it a slow transition. Looks like some of you are ahead of me. That's cool. Trying to get you to, stay in there. At least, like I said, a 30-second hold is like a short mid-range hold. Even a minute is really not considered a long hold. Now that's very subjective. So it just depends on where you're at. Nice, Jamie. Nice, Brian. There it is, Leslie. So that's like, we did inner, back, outer, back. Okay, so we have to go back to the locust. No rush getting there. After this, you're just gonna do a few standing postures. They're not gonna be too bad, so you'll be all right. Now we got one more locust you can choose, like I showed here. I do this one a lot. Anytime, I do massage for a living, so I'm in here a lot. Hours a day, and I'm like this. So what do I have to do a lot? It's like this. I'll literally get done with the massage, but the first thing I do, I hold this. And so if you're like this a lot of us are on the computer, the phone, driving, it's all that, okay? This is a good one, but this also does the job. So one more locust, come on now. You gotta strengthen your back, yogis. Bridge was for your butt. This is a little bit more for your back. A lot of people would say it's for your butt, but it's not easy to activate the butt here. So try that, lift the hips. Lift the knee and the femur bone via the butt, but pull your belly in against that. Reverse plank would be with the weight bearing variation here. So you're gonna finish up your last locust, kind of giving you a little bit more freedom this morning, all right? I want you to work on challenging yourself. That's key to develop that, the ability to push yourself. We'll lower down. I'd say child pose. A lot of side body into back body. I think that warrants a little, kind of bending of the knees, bending of the core. And, we only got about 20 minutes left in practice, yogis. So we got to finish up our final standing sequence, and then we will stretch a little bit more, okay? So when you're done, please, let's slowly come through downward facing dog. Walk your feet to the front of your mat skillfully. Bend the knees, rise up, meeting standing. I do suggest maybe a little bit of this. Look at this, you're gonna stretch out your side body and your back. So it's a really nice kind of, tension release. All right, yogis, let's widen our feet. So, we did some chairs, right? But this is hamstring strengthener. We don't do enough of this. I said this is our main hamstring strength. This is one of my favorite ways to strengthen the legs if we're gonna do it in an upright position. If we're not gonna do hinge, if we're gonna do squat for hamstrings, this is what I want us to be doing regularly, because deadlift is one of the most fundamental full body and leg strengtheners. Okay, now get low, a little bit different. Arms go behind the head for our pec minor release. Now sit low, open your elbows, open your knees, and just a little bit more of a meditative position now. Big inhale on your nose, big exhale. Try to engage your core, especially if you feel any tension around your sacrum. That's totally normal when you're new to this, because the glute is shortening against the sacrum. It's rotation and abduction. They're both glute. It's also extension. You can't beat this one, all right? It's really good stuff. You can experiment by lifting the heel if you want to go a little bit more creative, or both heels. It's going to strengthen your toes a little bit more so you feel your toe grip. Okay, big inhale, heels down, hips lift. Take a moment. If you need to release your arms, we will do one more quick round. So we're gonna do this, and then you're gonna see two movements, and then you're gonna see balance. And then we're pretty much done here, okay? So not too much to go. Stay focused. Bend the knees, opposite pinky grip on top. I try to relax my shoulders back and down, and I pull my elbows back. Sit low, open my knees over the heels, and just hold today. Notice if you rely on the stickiness of the mat, try to squeeze your feet like together a little bit more. Just don't let your knees buckle in. Your feet got to be pretty wide, yogis, okay? That's the key to getting the whole outer line. So the abduction is going to strengthen here and the whole butt and the hamstrings, right? The only thing that reciprocally inhibits is the adductor. Oh, sit low, yogis. You got to get that butt low. Butt should be about as high as your knees. Most of your feet are not wide enough. If you think you need a really wide stance here, guys. All right. Yeah, this is like peak legs of class, right? Vinyasa wasn't peak legs. Side plank is not peak legs. We need to really blast those legs. All right, yogis, so now your legs get to go straight in the stretch and we move the core. So you turn your feet in, straighten your legs. If you want a little back bend, that might feel good. You might want your blocks in front of you. You're gonna hinge. And if you wanna take the stretch here for a moment, I'll let you. But our real exercise today, yogis, is gonna be that active twist. So I'm not gonna do revolve triangle, revolve lunge. We've been doing that a lot. So I'm gonna come into this kind of high table. I like to bring the hands a little closer together. Inhale, right arm out and up. Twist with your core. Exhale, right hand goes down. Inhale, left arm out and up. Exhale it down. Last few side to side. Try to use your abs to twist and don't let your kind of hips swivel to the side too much. Really try to feel your core and engage your legs straight now. Your legs were just bent, laterally rotated. Now they're like slightly medial rotated, and they're straight leg. Whereas it should be opposite, yogis. You should be engaging your thighs a lot, whereas before it was like very hamstring and glute. Now it's hip flexors shortened and thighs extending knee. So, and then we're twisting the spine, we're moving the spine. It was just really sturdy before. Now, if you want to hold, go ahead. So your right arm can go out and up. Your right arm can swing around the back. So just hold on the first side. If you want to walk your left hand toward your right foot, you can. But don't feel like you have to force anything. Try to keep the spine a little bit longer. Again, it's kind of like a substitute for revolve triangle, kind of, right? Now go slow, right arm high, let's keep it moving, right hand down, left arm goes out and up, left arm can swing around the back, that's kind of like a revolve side angle there, bind or revolve triangle, and then if you want, right hand walks toward left foot. A little bit bigger stretch. So legs were just sturdy, spine was rotating dynamically and then static. Eventually, we'll meet back here. So our legs were just all the contrasts in the legs, but now we have to kind of energetically contrast them, which is the Skanda Kriya, all right? There's a lot of mixed ways people do this. Some people say keep your toes turned out as you bend your right knee. Some people say neutral. I think there's probably a lot of anatomy involved there, So it's this, yogis, Skanda. This is a type of squat. Some people call this squat lunge, right? Here, and then here. A couple more times. Your knee goes kind of out over your toes. Don't let the knee buckle in. A good idea here, guys, really good idea is to keep your spine long and your abs pulling in. So your side body's lengthened. Your back is not arched like hyper, but there is that kind of like the inhale half lift. So it's almost like you're in a consistent half lift of your core. Ardha Uttanasana. If you round your spine here, it becomes a very different thing of what it's doing to the lower back, okay? If you don't half lift, you're not supporting the arch. It's a common place you're going to put tension straight in the arch of your back. All right, yogis, I want to keep going here. Eventually back in center, rise up. Now it's static. Again, it is balance. Good old warrior three. It's the one-legged hinge. It's the progression from hinge. So second tier hinge, right? Right toes turn to the right. Left toes turn also to the right. Hinge, bend the hip. If you want to do any arm binds, eagle arms for an arm stretch. If you want to go reverse prayer, that's a fun one. Okay, start to hinge, and then boom, we're going to lift our left leg. Try to really feel the equal distribution of the weight in the foot. Try to feel the shoulders backing down more. Holding warrior three. You're going to try to go for about a 30-second to minute hold. You try to get to 30 seconds. Second tier would be that minute. Remember, the growth of strength happens when you really want to leave it, okay? So you got to get into that space where you really want to leave the pose and exist in there for a little bit longer. You're going to slowly exit position. Some of you is nice. Some of you is doing standing splits. That's totally pretty much the same thing here in a sense. And doing standing splits with your hands off of the floor is called toppling tree. So it's like a hyper range warrior three. Second side, please. So you can just kind of pivot to your second side. Start to hinge. Remember that your right hip is going to want to lift here. If it's your left leg on the floor, the right leg's lifting up and back. It wants to take the hip with it. Hip down. Come on now, nice. Maybe you reach, some of these are adding things. I don't mind. You want to revolve here? You want to reach your arms forward? You want to go handstand hop? Come on, have some fun here. Having fun tends to light up the frontal lobes of the brain. Stressful work tends to keep you in the amygdala. The stress brain, let's call it, or the feel brain. How can we, find a way? I want this to be disciplined, but I also want you to try to make it pleasant for yourself. And that's going to, literally turn on different brain centers. And the more those are turned on, the more they're going to activate easier. So we don't want exercise to be too stressful, okay? So there's a lot of different categories of balance. We're only going to do 2 balances today. That is the straight leg in the sagittal plane. Now we're going to go slowly. When you're done, no rush. It is the bent knee. So it's a bent knee balance. They call it figure 4 chair. I am going to use this for our figure 4 stretch as well. So we're not going to do pigeon and stuff. This is going to be it. All right. So you're going to find your feet about hips width distance. Now the hips are going to be in symmetry here. To start, you bend the knees. You find your one final little chair pose here. You can reach your arms up if you'd like. Shift your weight to your, let's do the right foot down. Then the left knee lifts. I turn the inner shin up and I rest the ankle on the knee. I really should teach this posture more. It is really nice. Flex the foot and get low. So both these are bent. Okay, your chest is still hinging. If you want to take it to a crazy flying pigeon, Galavasana, there is a big arm balance here. There's also grasshopper prep where you twist. And your left elbow, your hands come to prayer, and your left elbow goes to the sole of your left foot. It's a big one. Grasshopper is known to cause hip and back pain, just so you know. I don't really teach it that much. That is one of those main postures. Any of the sundials do as well. It's pretty much the same. Your leg is getting like way behind your shoulder. Yeah, grasshopper, nice. All right, now go slow. Let's come back to our chair. You got one more. This is your last standing posture. I will give a little rise up, but this is your last standing posture. You find your chair, you shift your weight to your left foot, you slowly lift your right into your chest, you turn the inner shin up, and then you go ahead. Outer right ankle, heel on the left knee, and I sit low. Just notice if I shift a lot of weight. Okay, try to be nice and relaxed. Work, breathe. Nice. Yeah, and eventually you kind of like forward folding it more, which makes it more like a big hip stretch for the right leg here. Yep, some of you are doing a little bit more. Sorry, I can't show any of those arm balances right now. My back's a little tight. So that's your two real balanced postures today. Both are considered like flexed or hinged, right? Hinge balance is usually a little bit more advanced rather than obviously upright, okay? So when you're done there, we're gonna slowly stand up, and just for a moment, you're gonna lift your heels nice and high if you wanna kind of reach up and make your body as tall as possible. So my little calf raise. And if you wanna take it to crow, this is like the last arm balance. You gave your arms a good break, right? Your arms go forward, you bend your knees, I hinge my chest, so it's like a squat and a hinge, hands plant, knees on triceps, and then you fly. I didn't really no forearm balance today. I did straddle, so that would be your headstand. We did standing warrior 3 and vinyasa, that would have been your handstand opportunity. Anytime I get you in free flow, yogis, I mean free, I mean let go. Ignite the fire of the soul, into your practice. A raging fire, okay? If you want a handstand and I let you free flow, do it, okay? So we are gonna stretch now. So we did figure 4, we did hamstrings, we did psoas. I do wanna do quads, knees together. So you're gonna drop to your knees when you're done. I think only 1 or 2 of you are doing crow, so I'll move forward. Knees together, Virasana, sit between your heels. So notice, you guys all know this, I'm not even gonna do the details. Everyone in here is a regular. I want a big front body stretch. If you wanna go big and do something like a wheel, camel, those can work here. They will lack a little quads though, right? So, front of the thigh. Couple breaths. I know traditionally you usually kind of end on your back, but we did it kind of the opposite today, right? We started on the back and then we were in the middle on the floor, and then we ended standing in any active forms. So now we'll just kind of ground you again with a few kind of more still opening holds. Close your eyes if you can. Take another couple breaths. All right, so listen, that was the quads, right? We did hamstrings. We also did straddle, which is gracilis. We did konasana in the beginning, which is adductor magnus. We did figure 4, which is outer hip. We did psoas, double hamstring. Your hips are done. You don't really need to do anything else. There are a few things that maybe would be good, but I'm gonna leave it there, all right? Let's lay on our back. I'm gonna do that shoulder and wrist compression stretch. It is a passive gomukhasana. We started out in bridges and crunches, and I want to give you time to unwind a little bit, guys. All right? So we'll lay on our back. I use this one all the time. Most days I do this, especially if I'm doing anything on my arms. I'm going to roll to my left. Right arm swings up the spine behind me. Spread my fingers. And then roll onto the back. I usually save this for like flexibility class, some gentle yogas. I don't do it enough in the strong class, so I want to mix it in here for you guys. And I just lay on my arm. So just in case you're not familiar with this, it's gomukhasana, bottom one like that. Arm is up the spine, elbow hugs in, and I'm literally laying on that arm, okay? Close your eyes, couple deep breaths. If there's another stretch calling to you, that's totally fine. I'm just kind of basing it off what we didn't do so far. Did a ton of back bends and forward bends, pretty good there. Okay, so when you're done with that side, let's do our second side. I wouldn't say it's a twist heavy class. You know, if you wanted to do one more twist too, like, you know, we did one in the beginning, we did some dynamic, and then we did some holding, but that might be another kind of area. It might feel good. Left arm back and under the spine, palm face down, and you roll on your back. You know, here in the end of practice, if you're having a really good day, you know, it's always suggested to maybe throw in a posture that you're working on. Like I mentioned wheel earlier. On a really energized, strong day, you might just do wheel there instead of your asana. You might do a headstand here or splits, you know, something you want to, some yoga posture you might want to work on. I want you to remember this stretch, yogis. It's so unique. There's not many like this one. It's going to get the pronation, supination of the wrist, and that's what we're always asking you to work in yoga. The rotational quality of the arm with the, let's call it rotational quality of the forearm as well. It's so good. It's a game changer in things like when we bind in yoga, reverse prayer, uh, down dog and plank work, trying to press the inner hand down, I always say, you know, the index, it frees up that. So it's literally forcing the inner hand down, right? So it's reducing the muscular resistance. All right, yogis, when you're done there, listen, you're gonna come back to your, you know, center. It's 8:43 and a half. So you got a minute and a half to kind of do one last little posture. I mean, you know, we did Happy Baby in the beginning, but if you want to revisit it, I mentioned the spinal twist. You know, you could do like right knee and across. You could do like a meter rotation. A nice thing could be throwing a block under the body somewhere. If you didn't get to do inversion, you could throw your legs up. We did that in the beginning as a group, but it wasn't like a static hold. You know, I'm ideally nothing too strenuous. So I'm going to give you about one more minute in a kind of physical maintenance of the body. And then I'm just going to lead you into self-led meditation. So to start, just to encourage you to maybe do something in your meditation, this is something we've done. Remember, Sundays used to be called Hatha Yoga and meditation. I often teach what's called gratitude meditation. So I'm reading this book called Behave. It's the biology of human behavior. And it's all about neuroscience. You know, that's one of my fascinations. And the subtitle is Humans at Their Best, and the biology of humans at their best and at their worst. And I'm literally reading the second chapter for the fourth time now. And, you know, he says it very clearly in the book. You know, he's talking about how certain emotions control how your brain functions and how the chemical body is acting. And he says literally like gratitude and love light up the frontal lobes. And the frontal lobes are like the most evolved part of the brain that really, let's say, give humans their distinct differences from the animals. Like this part of our brain, as far as like, let's call it like scientific anatomy, distinguishing us from a lot of the animals, like the frontal lobes. And there's certain neurons on there that only like elephants, there's like only a couple of animals that have it. Elephants, dolphins, horses or something. I can't remember right now, but, and he says clearly, like, if you think gratitude, you light up your frontal lobes and turn off your fear brain. And the more you're like lighting up the frontal lobes, the more it's likely to light up throughout your day. Your intelligent, creative, you know, problem solving, rational brain. All right. So, you know, going here to enter into, let's call it like your mental asana, your mental vinyasa, you try to put your mind into certain places, not just your body. You know, your body tends to go in bad posture. Well, your mind tends to go into bad posture too. So what's good posture of your mind? It might be positive thoughts, things like gratitude and love and, you know, happiness, thinking of things that make you happy and grateful and and feeling good. So we want to practice intentional thought process and emoting, creating emotions. All right. So, with that being said, now let's take that stance of that intention. And, I do have my other class, so I gave you a little introduction of what I want you to do. I want you to do that for like a couple minutes, but then more like Shavasana. All right. So, if I see a lot of you is not doing the Shavasana, if I find out, I'm going to take 10 minutes from this class and we'll do it. So I want you to lay still and do your mental work, your emotional work. Don't overlook that, yogis. Physical work is beginner. Take it to the next layer of yourself. Do the subtle stuff. So really nice job, everyone. I do it, flexibility class is on tomorrow night. I really appreciate you guys showing up early and working hard. Namaste, yogis. Do your